Welcome, listeners, to another episode of Panel Pals, the comic book podcast for thinkers. We're your hosts, Diane Hitchings.
And Jack Stewartson.
So, Jack, how are you doing this fine February day? Who knows when it'll actually come out, but it's currently... It's February while we are recording this.
I'm hanging in there, How are you?
Yeah, it's, February vibes.
Yeah.
How dreary is it over there?
You know what? It feels like spring most days here, so that's not so bad. I'm like inside most of the time, but
yeah,
still feels like spring.
When I went to work this morning, it was the first day that I saw a little bit of like lightness on the horizon. So I'm like, ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
We're getting there. I mean, it was still dark, but like just a little bit of lightness. So, we're getting back to having sun.
Sun. That will be good.
Yay.
Are you enjoying, as we're recording, the Winter Olympics are going on in Italy right now. Are you, I can't say that we're having a stellar performance as of late, but are you enjoying what you're hearing?
So I don't have a television, so like, I don't really watch the Olympics. And like, because of the time zone difference, it's like, what am I going to do? Go find a sports bar that's playing a hockey game at like 7 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, that's the other thing, is everything's happening in the mornings.
I know, because I was like, oh, like, I've done that before, where like, a few years ago when there was like the big Canada versus US game, I think there was the Four Nations, like, I went to a sports bar that was attached to a hotel nearby and watched the final game, fun. But, like, a little hard to do when the time difference is like that.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, you're not missing much.
Yeah.
We've only got 7 medals. Actually, that's up from this morning, so we got another bronze.
Oh, good for them. Well, yay. Good for the Olympics. Woohoo. I can't say I've been following very closely. Haha, oops. But go Canada. Yeah, yes, go Canada. You can do it. Come on, we're better at winter sports.
Sure.
Let's go. I mean, we'd better be. We're cold. But on the topic of sports, since that is vaguely related to what we are talking about today. Did not time this on purpose, it was an accident, and it's only vaguely related because it's currently the Winter Olympics and we are not going to be talking about winter sports today. Woo! Before we get into the main topic of the video, I have a couple questions for you, Jack. Growing up, did you play sports?
Some sports. It might shock some of our listeners. I was not a total shut-in. But I will admit I was limited mostly to the pool. I was doing swimming for most of my youth and water polo for most of my youth with a little bit of hockey in there for sure. Yeah. And badminton and running,
Yeah, the classic swimming and then water polo to lifeguard pipeline. Did you ever play like any like high-level sports, like competitive, or is it mostly like rec league?
Rec league, but I did go to the summer games a couple of times. I don't know if that counts.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that counts. That was fun. I went to a couple summer games and a couple winter games as a track athlete / hockey athlete. A little apropos for both of those. Are you a fan of sports? Like watching?
As I get older, I become more of a fan, I realize. I'm becoming more like my dad in that way. I like to watch a hockey game. I like going out to a baseball game live. I like going out to a football game live. Yeah. Yeah.
But like, do you find that there's something like appealing, intriguing about like watching sports or competing in sports, just having this game? Is it a fun thing for you? Is it just fun in general?
Compelling? Well, that's the whole point. Here's what I don't get is I don't get the politics and the drama of sports. The way some people describe some sports or athletics, the way that they romanticize it, I don't quite understand. So maybe I'm not a true sports fan if that's not my case, but I do like, I like watching athleticism. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think a true sports fan is not caught up in any of the drama or the politics. They watch the game for the love of the game. But this is not a sports podcast. This is a comics podcast. And I have lots of thoughts about sports. but they're mostly related to hockey, so they will be more relevant for whenever we do the sports manga that's about hockey, that we are going to talk about it sometime, because I have two loves in my life, and it's comics and hockey. But we are not talking about hockey today. We are going to be talking about the manga that is about sports, and it is called Real, and it is by the mangaka Inoue Takehiko. So, sports manga. You ever read any sports manga before?
Certainly not to this degree for what we had to read for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to Japan, my host family had a subscription to Jump, and serialized in Jump, where I'm pretty sure Slam Dunk was probably still ongoing at that time, and something else. And like, I'm forever curious about comics, so I would check that out. But like, you know, those were untranslated, and I was only reading weird between issues of whatever they had lying around. So not to this degree, no.
Yeah. Is there like an analogous type of comic in Western comics to the genre of sports manga?
I wonder specifically about that.
Yeah. Because I was trying to think, and I'm like, not really?
I know there was a push in the late 50s, early 60s, when the Comics Code Authority came under effect and horror comics and crime comics were effectively banned. There was a push for some sports comics, either based on real guys, or I know DC very briefly had a feature called Strange Sports Stories, and it would be about like the invisible baseball player, or different, like, I don't know, a basketball player who could like stretch his arms or something. I don't know. When I hear sports comics, you ever watch Big, the Tom Hanks movie?
Maybe a long time ago. Like, I know it, but I couldn't really tell you much of the plot.
Okay.
But
plot's not really necessarily, other than you need to know that he's a kid who suddenly grows up due to magic.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah.
And he gets a job at a toy manufacturing company, and he's great at it because he's got the heart of a kid. But eventually he starts to grow up, and he starts to lose his childlike innocence. And part of what suggests that is he comes with an idea of an interactive comic book, and he so succinctly describes why sports comics don't happen in the West. And it's because I think in the West, we have an expectation that you're going to something new every time you see a game, every time you watch a game, unless you're watching highlights, right? And with fiction, it's not something new. It's predetermined, right?
Okay.
And so his big ingenious idea is a comic book that the ending could change. And that's why a sports comic could work for him if it were interactive, because you could have different variables and different outcomes.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like that is true of a Western audience, why we don't enjoy sports comics to the degree that the Japanese market does. But at the same time, I also like, I don't know, we have sports movies, and those are always popular, and those are predetermined. So I don't, running theory.
Yeah. I have theories why sports manga is so popular for the manga audience. I'll get into it into my introduction blurb, where I just get to talk about sports manga for a while. The last question, though, I have for you is, would you count Baki the Grappler or Kengan Ashura as a sports manga?
Are fighting manga sports manga? Good question.
According to the list I found of all the sports manga that exists, both of those are on it, and there's a lot of martial arts. And like, there are a bunch of martial arts series that I would actually count as sports manga, because they actually follow people doing a sport and not just people being insane. On some level, yes, Baki and Kengan are both counted as sports manga.
I don't know, man. In Baki, they fight monkeys and giant snakes. Is that like sport? Like,
yeah, I know, right? I'm like,
I see what they're getting at, and like, I'm sure there are authentic manga about karate or kendo or like actual practiced martial arts. Yeah. I do. Yeah, I don't know if I'm on board with that.
I've read an actual sports manga that's about sumo, and it's an actual sports manga. It's not just there is a sumo guy in Baki and a sumo guy in Kengan, and they do a sumo at some point in time, and it's like, no, this is not a sports manga. I do not count it. Personal opinion. But I have a pretty set definition of what I would count as a sports manga, which we will also get into in a bit. But now we talk about sports. As I've alluded to, sports manga are very, very popular. Some of the biggest series ever are sports mangas, like manga series, with 4 of the top 30 all-time best-selling mangas being sport mangas. One that focuses on basketball, one on boxing, one on soccer, and one on baseball. Technically, 5 out of the top 30 are sports manga if you count Baki, which, as I just said, I do not count Baki. Some other fun facts about sports manga. Apparently, the volleyball series Haikyuu was so popular that it caused a significant and noticeable increase in high school volleyball club registrations in Japan. Currently, we also have, that series happened a while ago. There are still some very popular sports series. One called Blue Lock. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Okay. It's about soccer. It's insanely popular. It is also on the highest selling manga list of all time with over 50 million copies sold. Maybe we'll talk about that one sometimes. It's insane. But if you go down the best-selling manga list, it's crazy how many of them are actually sports manga. Like, most people who've heard anything about manga, they've heard of series like Prince of Tennis or Kuroko no Basket. There's also this mangaka named Adachi Mitsuru who has been making baseball manga since 1979. Makes some other manga too. And he is still currently making a baseball manga. It's called Mix, and it's actually pretty good if you like just baseball and like high school drama. And it's also fun because it's like drawn still kind of like how things were drawn in the 70s. So it's wild that that's like a thing that's still running. And just as like an anecdotal experience with being in manga spaces, the fans of sports series are like rabid. They are locked in and devoted on their series, and they will like fight you over like which characters are the best and which teams are the best and what series are the best. It's insane. So why do people like sports manga so much? For a personal opinion, it's because it's just a shonen battle manga, but it's using power metrics that are A, slightly more realistic, and B, relatable. Like, everybody knows what a sport is. You're not inventing a magic system that, like, you really have to, like, learn all the ins and outs about. No. Everybody knows how, like, vaguely how, like, soccer works and, like, running fast works and, like, physical strength works. So it's easy to understand. And anybody who reads manga, they could also play a sport, even if you're not that athletic. There are sports series about board games and, like, table tennis, so there's something for everyone. And I really do mean something for everyone. Every mainstream sport, there's a manga for that. Niche sports? Yes. Do you like cycling? There's a manga for that, and it's got 98 volumes as of time of recording. You like yo-yoing? Apparently there's a manga for that. From like the late 90s, early 2000s, what a surprise. Anyways, people like sports manga because it's on some level realistic and relatable, and it's got that interpersonal drama, but it's also got like the battle manga aesthetics. And a lot of sports manga are targeted at a shonen demographic. You know, the age where a lot of kids are playing sports in like middle school and high school. So then, why do publishers like sports manga? Like I said, you can make a cycling manga and it has 98 volumes. Like I said about the guy who's been making all these baseball mangas, Adachi Mitsuru. His most popular baseball manga, Touch, sold over 100 million volumes, and that's a series from the 80s. Sports mangas sell. And you can just keep making them. There's always more games for the characters to play, or more races for them to compete in. There's more side characters that have to have a growth arc. And you could also just make one game last like 30 chapters, because why not? People will read it. I will read it. I will read all 37 volumes of iShield 21 3 times, and I will cry multiple times on each read-through. Because it's fun. It's exciting. Now, anyways, ignore everything I just said. The series we're going to talk about today is called Real. It's a seinen manga by the mangaka Inoue Takehiko. It began in 1999 and it's currently ongoing. It had a few hiatuses in its run, one lasting from 2014 to 2019, and a few shorter hiatuses in the years since. As of recording, there are 102 chapters, with chapters usually in about the 40-page range, as is typical for a lot of seinen manga. Inoue is an extremely prolific mangaka, with his basketball series Slam Dunk being the highest-selling sports manga ever and the 8th highest-selling manga of all time, with 185 million volumes in circulation, and his historical manga Vagabond, which is about Miyamoto Musashi, being the 28th highest-selling manga of all time, with 82 million copies in circulation. Real is his most recent series, and similarly to Slam Dunk, it's about basketball. The story follows 3 main characters. Nomiya Tomomi, a brash, high-spirited high school dropout who loves basketball. Togawa Kiyoharu, a stubborn, highly competitive wheelchair basketball player who specializes in speed. And Takahashi Hisanobu, an ex-classmate and ex-teammate of Nomiya, naturally talented and paralyzed after he was hit by a car. All 3 of these teens have their lives impacted by basketball and a physical disability that necessitates wheelchair use. Nomiya got in a motorbike accident that resulted in the passenger of his motorbike being paralyzed. Togawa had his leg amputated because of cancer, and Hisanobu is paralyzed from the chest down after his accident. Through the manga, we see each of these characters' stories intertwine as they struggle and grow with their current circumstances in life. So, Jack, what did you think about this manga? For reference, we read the first 3 volumes, which is up to chapter 18.
And I read a little bit more, but
excellent! Yay!
I was really impressed by this.
Yay!
Not knowing anything about it, and seeing how it sort of takes a winding road on the story that's trying to tell in like classic Japanese novel fashion, rather than like a typical shonen manga, if you know what I'm saying. Like, it's about all these interweaving characters that kind of come in and out of each other's lives, and how they all have different but like similar goals. I found that so fascinating. This is a great book, I think.
Yay, I'm so glad you like it. I also very much like this series. How far did you read up to then?
I'm up to chapter 69.
Sick. Awesome. I am very glad you like this. Recently, I had a friend ask if I had any manga series that I would rate 100 out of 100. And I said no, because nothing's perfect, but I would rate some things a 97 out of 100. And this was one of the series that I said, because it's so good.
It's beautiful.
Awesome. Yes, it is also beautiful. You like the art?
Yeah. Now, let me tell you something now. Okay. Are you familiar with Tim Rogers?
No.
That's okay. He's typically a video game guy. He's a video game essayist, journalist, producer, designer, accountant. He's a very smart guy, and typically he's involved with video games, but he does a lot of public speaking that is very engaging. And he's spoken openly about, he's a big comics fan too, obviously. He's a nerd. He's mentioned in the past that he thinks the greatest comics artist of all time is Takehiko Inoue.
Sick.
And now, I've been unfamiliar with his work. I have Vagabond on my shelf, and I've been meaning to read it. Maybe I'll read it a little bit sooner now that I've read this. So I've always had that in the back of my mind. And when I started reading this, I was like, well, if he likes the Slam Dunk guy, but this is I didn't know who this was by. In full disclosure, I didn't know who the author was. And I was
I didn't tell Jack anything. I was just it's called Real, read it, because I don't want to ruin anything.
Yeah. So I didn't know who this was by. So I was like, okay, if he thinks the guy who makes Slam Dunk is the best artist, this guy is drawing not just high-performance, exciting basketball, regular basketball. He has to draw high-performance, exciting wheelchair basketball. So that must mean he's a better artist, right? And then turns out it's the same guy. It is the same guy.
It is the same guy.
I'm kind of inclined to agree with Mr. Tim Rogers. This might be the best comics art, at least Japanese comics art.
It looks so nice. It's so nice. Do you know? Okay, so I read this series for the first time probably 7 or 8 years ago. Didn't know who it was by. Didn't know what it was. I just saw it and I was like, oh, I'll just click on this. I'll start reading it. And I was like, oh shit, this is good. This is art. Yes, I had not read any of Inoue's other stuff. I had decided that we were going to talk about Real a few weeks before it became relevant, so I had plenty of time to reread the entire series. Also go and read the entirety of Vagabond. which I hadn't read before because
I've heard it's good.
Because I'm stupid and I don't do anything with my time aside, read comic. And then I read some of Slam Dunk. It was an absolute, like, tonal whiplash. Because, like, I guess I read backwards in his discography, pretty much. I read Real, and then I read Vagabond, and then I read Slam Dunk. And Real and Vagabond have very similar art styles. And then you read Slam Dunk, and you go to the start of it, and you're like, this is this is an entirely different artist. It looks like generic kind of like 90s high school comedy kind of thing. And I was so confused. I was like, am I reading the right series? And then I go read the last chapter of Slam Dunk and I'm like, oh, that's the art I realize. So I guess it would be really cool to read that series and see the art progression from like something that's relatively simple and very much more like comedy move towards this like beautiful rendering of human figures and facial features and like backgrounds and stuff. But
and
yeah.
movement.
Everything
flows, everything moves, everything, like when he's drawing a rush, you can tell that it's a rush, right? Like it is so exciting to read.
And like I think it's really awesome because like I don't know, like, for reference, for, like, when you're drawing, like, action scenes where people are moving quickly, it's relatively, I wouldn't say easy, but, like, the human form is very malleable, so it's easy to make, like, exaggerate the features and the motion with the human body. That's a lot more difficult with something like a wheelchair. So I'm always impressed when there's artists who are able to make things like, for example, cars moving, or wheelchairs moving, or, like, bikes for the bike manga, to make that look fluid and dynamic, because those forms don't like mush as easily as the human form. Have you ever like tried to draw something with wheels in motion and like you're like, if you like kind of squish it like you would a person, now it just looks like a squished bike kind of thing?
Drawing a bike is so freaking hard.
Yeah. Now imagine, and then like, and so like drawing a wheelchair.
Imagine trying to draw someone sitting down on two wheels who is in motion. That's like, it's an insane task to do, and he's doing it all the time, and it looks good every time.
It's great, yeah. So yeah, no, I love the art. It looks so good. What my personal favorite part is like the way that he draws faces. All the characters look like relatively like real, but they're very unique. Like they have different like eye shapes and facial shapes and hairstyles, and it all looks tangible and real, but they're very distinct as characters. There's no same face problem having at all with these characters. And the expressions that they make, they feel so human and so tangible. Like you could reach out and like grab these faces. They're so three-dimensional, even though it's a two-dimensional medium. And I think that really helps with this kind of story that's, like, very emotional, to be able to render these human emotions so well.
He's also not afraid to break out into cartoonier faces every once in a while. It's not he's not doing it every panel, certainly, but if someone is looking shocked or surprised, he's not afraid to get cartoony with it, and I appreciate that a lot too.
Yeah, no, it's great. And then like the way that he like depicts things slightly non-literally, I guess. Like for example, after the one character who gets into a car accident, Takahashi Hisanobu, the one of our main characters, when he's in the hospital and like feeling his body after being paralyzed from the chest down for the first time, it's drawn in like a metaphorical kind of way where his like legs are like bound and his body feels like it's on fire, and it's like a little abstract, a little like absurd, the visuals, but like it works really well for like making the reader be able to understand or like feel these feelings that's kind of hard to explain in like just a visual medium.
Totally. Same goes for, I think it's the same character when he's learning how to lift himself off the ground into his chair. He draws, his torso is like a big, like it's a big cannonball. It's like a big lead ball. And then his legs are like just like logs of wood sticking out in two opposite ends. Yeah, no, the visual metaphor, like he's doing comics. Like he's not just He's not just drawing guys in wheelchairs. He's like drawing comics. And that's like it's amazing to look at.
Yeah. No. I am very glad that this is one of the series that I brought that you very much enjoyed, because it's not as popular as, well, many other sports manga, and also not as popular as Inoue's other stuff, but I will say with my whole chest that it is the best of the series that Inoue has done. And if apparently this is the best comics writer of all time, maybe that means this is the best comic series of all time.
It's up there. It's certainly up there.
All right, now we get a debate if it's better than Watchmen.
Better than Watchmen. How apropos.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, is it? I liked it better than Watchmen, but anyways, we don't have to fight about this. We're not going to talk about we won't talk about Watchmen every week.
I mean, I'm not done with this yet, so words out on my opinion. I will say it's very, very good.
Yeah. So you said you got up to chapter like 69 or something?
69, yeah.
Yeah, and so what's happening at around that point? Did you get to the part with the pro wrestler yet?
Oh, I'm way past that.
Good.
Tomomi? Yeah. Is that right? He just
call him Tomo, yeah.
He just had his tryout.
Yeah.
With a professional, like a Japanese professional basketball team. This is the sole protagonist of the many protagonists who is not in a wheelchair. He's not wheelchair bound. He's not disabled. And he just tried out for a pro basketball team, and we haven't heard whether or not he's made it, but it sounds like he hasn't made it yet.
Yeah, I won't give you any spoilers for that. So yeah, we have our three main characters. Tomo, who is the one main character who does not play wheelchair basketball. He plays basketball. And then we have Togawa, who is the one that has a leg amputation. And then we have Takahashi, who is the one who has what's the word? I'm like, is paralyzed from like the chest down. Do you have a preference on which character story you like following the most, or do you like one of these protags more than the others?
I mean, Kyo is so cool. What a cool, what a cool guy. His procedure. So he has a leg amputation, but they've done a specific procedure to him that I had actually learned about shortly before I started reading this, where they reattach your foot backwards to give you more range of motion in your leg after they've amputated.
Yeah. Like to your knee. They put your foot where your knee was. Yeah.
Right. But the way his struggle to try and convince his dad that he wants to be a track athlete is that's its own compelling. That would make for its own compelling manga all by itself. But then it's got this tinge of tragedy where he's going to lose his leg, and then this moment of triumph of he's one of the best wheelchair basketball players in the country, and like he's just trying to hold his team together. It's incredible. It's a great, what a great character arc. What a great journey to go on with this guy.
Yeah. Like his backstory, his dad was really pushing for him to be a piano player, and he was like, no, he wants to run. He wants to be a track athlete, and he's really good at it, and this is in junior high. And then it's revealed that he has a bone cancer in his leg, so it has to get amputated. I have read this manga many times. I have not successfully made it through reading his backstory without absolutely sobbing. I cry and I know it's gonna happen because I've read this series so many times, and you know it's gonna happen because you start the series with him in a wheelchair, so you know that when you're watching him run, you're like, well, he's gonna lose his leg somehow. So it's not a surprise, but that's one of the strengths I think about sports manga is like the emotion. I don't know if you feel this, but like as an athlete and like dealing with injury, it's just like it really hits you there. Like I never had an injury that was like career ending, but like I know the feeling of like you're good at something and then you get hurt in some way and you're tossed back so far and you have to recover and everybody else is going forward but you can't yet, and it's like ugh. My sister once, have you ever heard of the series called Free? It's about
swimming. Yeah.
So like My sister was watching the anime, and she never finished it because one of the characters got a shoulder injury or something, and he had to, like, stop, and she was like, I was just so emotionally impacted that I just had to stop. I couldn't. She's like, it was too close to home, and I was like, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's good writing, though. Like,
it is.
You're invested in these characters, and you feel bad when they have to overcome an obstacle.
Yeah.
Or it's an obstacle that, like, realistically you can't overcome, right? Like,
or you can overcome it by switching sports to wheelchair basketball. Yeah. So you like Togawa Kiyoharu's story the best? Do you like following him as the main character the best?
I think he's my favorite character. Yeah. I don't think there's a bad. I think everybody's interesting. I'm not bored by anybody's journey. Mm-hmm. I do think that sometimes Hisonobu's Takahashi, like, if you're not, like, it's hard to watch this guy go through the struggle that he goes through and, like, not immediately pick himself up, because, like, in a normal manga or any other piece of fiction for, like, young readers, there would be a moment of crisis, right? A moment of defeat, and then he would immediately pick himself up. That's not how the real world works, though, right? Like, you're gonna backslide, and that's kind of what's brilliant about Real is that Inoue is willing to show you the backslide. Mm-hmm. So you have to be willing to be on board with that. But by the time that he gets his two friends, when they become the Three Musketeers, it's awesome. It's so good.
Yeah. Because, like, this isn't a shonen series. It's a seinen series. It's for adults. So, like, it doesn't, like, it hits some of the normal, like, shonen battles series beats. Like, there's characters and they have rivals, blah, blah, blah. But, like, it's not just, a character has a problem, they do a training montage, now they're stronger and better and they can win the game. No, because that's not how real life works. If you got paralyzed, you would have these super low moments and you would feel like nothing matters anymore and what's the point? And you'd have days where it's like it's good and then days where it's bad. And so, like, it's great. It's a nice change of pace from reading a lot of shonen because it's real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah, Takahashi's story is the one that I care the most about following in this. I like specifically the arc where the pro wrestler shows up and he tries to, like, recover so he can do another pro wrestling show. He's one of Takahashi's friends. That's my favorite arc. It's the best arc. Also could not have successfully read the pro wrestling fight without crying. It's so good. Because it's like, it is realistic. Because, like, well, no, maybe it isn't really realistic. I don't know if that's actually a thing that could happen. But, like, he doesn't just magically, like, so there's, like, a pro wrestler and he gets injured. It's a lot lower down of a spinal injury than Takahashi's. So they say it's, like, feasible that he could be able to, like, walk or, like, feel something in his legs, maybe, blah, blah, blah. But it's not like he does a training montage and now he's able to, like, flawlessly do a pro wrestling match again. No, they have to do, like, a lot of theatrics to make it so that he can actually participate. And at the end, you can see that he still can't actually stand up. But he tried. And he worked hard, and that was the point.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like, this episode is
he's, like, doing it for his daughter, too. It's so good.
His daughter he hasn't seen in years, and she's turning 20 now, but he hasn't seen her since she was, like, 5. Yeah.
It's awesome.
I'm gonna cry. And then, like, their third friend in their friend group is just, like, this kind of, like, nerdy guy who, like, really likes pro wrestling as well. And he's, like a lot smaller and weaker, but is somehow the best at doing the, like, the wheelchair transfers and all that stuff. So,
there's a bit where it's sort of proposed that their physician, or not their physician, the person in charge of the rehabilitation, I think he's a doctor. He's pitted these three together because they each elevate each other. He says that, so even though, what's the wrestler's name?
Oh.
He's called the Scorpion in the ring.
The Scorpion, yeah. So it's with an S. I'll go find it. Keep talking, yeah.
Even though he's the physically the most athletic and the biggest, he's going to have the hardest time in recovery. And because his injury is lessened, he's going to have the hardest time in recovery compared to Hisanobu Takahashi, who is younger than him, right? He'll have an easier time in recovery, even though he's got a more disability, like a harder disability. He's paralyzed from the chest down. He's not going to be able, right? But even stronger than him is their nebbish, nerdy friend guy who has mastered getting up and out of his chair because he just practices all the time. That's all he does.
I mean, he's also been there the longest, but
And he's also been there the longest.
Mm-hmm.
But even though he's the strongest, he's going to elevate the Scorpion, this wrestler guy, because he's such a fan of the Scorpion. He's going to be his hype man. It's awesome. It's so cool.
And I'm like, it's revealed that he's been like the one person sending the wrestler's name is Shiratori. He's been sending Shiratori this fan letters for like years and has been like his one devoted fan and was like just like lying in all his fan letters, but it was like a mutual like. It was like both of them were helping each other, but they didn't even know each other, and they gotta meet and they gotta like help each other through this part of their life. It's great. I'm gonna cry just talking about it. Anyways,
it's sick.
I love this manga. It's so good. Yeah. Do you think there's any like problems? Any problems with the manga? Is there any cons? Is there any things that you think could be improved on?
I think any problems I have probably have to do with translation more so than actual plot or art.
Yeah.
I don't know. From what I'm reading on, there's a character that like very callously just throws around homophobic slurs, and it's like, whoa, I don't know if that's cool.
Fair.
But again, that could just be the translation. I don't know. That might not actually be in the original text.
Yeah.
And that character is cool. Also, I don't hate that character.
I know. Yeah. When I was talking about the pros and cons of all the series that I think are like really, really good, my only cons for this was it's not finished and the chapters don't come out very often.
Right. It's on hiatus all the time, right?
It is. Like, there was a one point in time, like, I think I said, when did it, 2014 to 2019 I was on hiatus for. And, like, that was about the time I was reading it. And I was like, oh, I guess it'll just never end. Okay. But then, like, chapters started, but then I revisited it, like, a few years ago, and there's more chapters, and I'm like, oh, what a blessing. Yeah. But I mean, like, sometimes that happens, that's life. I mean, for example, Vagabond, I guess, spoilers, it's not completed. Did you know?
And I don't think it's ever going to be completed either. I
think it's been on indefinite hiatus since 2015. So I was really confused. I didn't know that until I started reading it, and then I was like, "Wait, can I just like find all the chapters?" And I was like, "Oh, it's just not finished." Damn it!
Yeah.
I mean, it's still really good.
That is the curse of the great mangaka of at least our time, right? None of their stuff is finished.
But like, what's worse, having a really rushed ending or just not finishing? Honestly, I know a lot of people would think that just having a really rushed ending is worse because then it ruins everything. So, oh well, I mean, it's still a really good series. I would recommend it. If you literally have it on your bookshelf, go read it. The art is amazing. The action sequences are great.
Yeah, I'm told that it's good.
I think I only cried like twice, so like, not as emotional as a sports manga, but it's still good. On the topic of sports manga, here's when I say, I don't think this is a sports manga.
What?
This is a manga about sports. And I think there's a very important difference.
You think this is just like a drama? What would they call that? Like a seinen? Oh, what's the genre that they call it? Not slice of life, even. Something deeper than that. Anyway, I know what you're talking about.
Psychological? Yeah. So, like, here's the thing. This might just be me putting silly little labels on things, but I think that a sports manga is a very specific genre. It's usually set up very similar to a battle shonen. It's got, like, training arcs, it's got rivals, it's got battles, but the battles are just sports games. And specifically, and, like, if you read Slam Dunk, you'll see that's more like a sports manga. Obviously, it's the most popular sports manga ever. But anyways, depending on your metric, but whatever. There's a much bigger focus on the games in a sports manga, where like there will be a game and you will follow specific plays and it will go into the minutia, the moment by moment, like the specific skills and plays that each character can do. And yes, for example, in Real, there are specific things that each of the characters are good at. Togawa is really fast. Tomomi is really good at reading people and like being like that, like kind of like a captain or assistant captain who like helps tell people what they're good at and what to do. Hisanobu is good at shooting, a thing that he has to now recover and learn to do again. So like, yes, these characters have their specific skill that they're good at. But in a sports manga, it would be way more focused on that. And they would have like literally like special moves like people do in like Naruto or whatever. It's literally just a shonen battle manga, but they're playing a sport instead of, like, being ninjas fighting each other in a forest. Which is true. One day, I will make you read some actual sports manga, and you'll be like, oh, yeah, you're right. This is just Dragon Ball, but they're playing football.
I mean, I've posited that about Pokemon Adventures. I've said that is a fighting tournament arc manga, martial arts manga, more so than it is a fantasy manga.
Uh-huh. And technically, I think you could make an argument that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a sports manga.
Yeah, what do they call it? They call it like a hobby manga or whatever, which is like kind of a subcategory. Yeah,
but anyways, back to the definition of a sports manga. In Real, it's a little bit different than that, because yes, Real is about wheelchair basketball, but it's about so much more than that. It's about also basketball, and failure, and determination, and disability, and the love of sport, and pain and suffering, and how life kind of sucks, but you gotta keep trying. Thematically, it's a lot more similar to something like What a Wonderful World than it is to, like, Haikyuu or Free. So, not all, like, sports mangas or mangas about sports, not all mangas about sports or sports manga, but I think it's like I was gonna say, it's an important differentiation. Is it? No, I just made this up, but it's important that this is slightly different, and I think maybe that's where its strengths lie. Because it can be more real and tell a story that is so hard-hitting, because it is using some of the aspects that make a sports manga so great, but it's breaking out of those things that hold, like, that encompass shonen manga to tell a story that's deeper and can connect even more with the reader. I don't think a lot of shonen readers or the shonen demographic would enjoy this as much, because it is slower. It doesn't focus much on the games and the excitement. There is humor, but there's a lot more tragedy. But there's gotta be manga for all different people, so I don't know if I would have read this when I was younger, if it would have been as good in my mind. But at this point in time, yeah, no. It's really one of the best stories out there.
I don't know if I agree with you still. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
On the one hand, a lot of the focus is more on character and interpersonal drama than it is on the actual sporting. On the other, you mentioned how in sports manga everybody's got like a signature move, as if it were Dragon Ball. And while this sports manga doesn't necessarily commit to that 100% of the time, I did notice very early on that there was a little bit of that. Specifically when and I don't know these characters' names off by heart yet. Yeah. But it's when Kiyohara and Tomomi are, like, hustling people. They're, like, they're playing 2-on-2 basketball, where it's one guy in a wheelchair, one guy not, versus other people, and they're, like, playing for money. And Tomimi will call out moves as if it were a fight, right? Now, that eventually that gets deviated away from, but it does sort of come back, specifically with the character of Tomomi. And, like, his playing style. And him as, like, the perfect point guard who's able to, like, hype out his team, right? Yeah. You ever watch the movie Hoop Dreams?
No. What is that?
It's a documentary. It's from 1994. It's shot on video, and it's about inner city high school basketball. Okay. And it follows two athletes specifically, and they're in Chicago and how their lives sort of deviate. One of the kids has to give up playing because he gets his girlfriend pregnant and he has to find a job and he has to he's got real life responsibilities. And the other ends up going to college. He ends up going to university to play. And he's not playing in the NBA, but, he gets to a certain level of higher level play rather than his cohort. Now, this is one of the greatest documentaries of all time. It is in the Criterion Collection. It is about race. It is about class. It is about prejudice. It's a sports movie, though. Number one, if you look up Hoop Dreams on Google, it will tell you sports movie.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Just because something is also about other things doesn't make it not about sports, right?
True. I mean, it is still about sports. But yeah, I mean, if you look up Baki the Grappler, it says it's a sports manga. So, I mean, we are just out here. We're just, you can slap any definition onto anything. Do words really have meaning? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? I will make you read a sports manga, and you will see the difference. We'll probably read, Eye Shield 21, which is awesome. It's about football, American football specifically. That is the manga that wins for the manga that has made me cry the most. Fun fact. It is a stupid shonen series about a sport that I legitimately do not care about. There are very few things I care less in this world about than American football. But I swear to God, the storytelling in that is so good. And yeah, it's very much a shonen. The tone, so different than Real. It has a completely different target audience, that's for sure. That was in Shonen Jump. Real was not in Shonen Jump. But,
But even though it made you cry, it's still a sports manga.
Oh, yeah, it's a sports manga. It's very much a sports manga. It is so sports manga. And no, but here's the thing. All sports manga make me cry because I am very, okay, here's the thing. If there's a sports manga and I didn't cry, that means it's not a good sports manga. Because, as someone who played high-level sports, the vibe, especially injury or the feeling of trying to be good at something and loving a sport and wanting to be good at it, but something is not working and something is holding you back and you cannot be as good as you want to be, and you see other people succeeding and you're frustrated. Bruh, that's me for real. Probably most people that read sports mangas are not athletes. So they're just what's this girl yapping about? Shut up. But no, if you played sports, played any high level sports, go read a sports manga. It will be an experience. It's so good. And find one, just find a manga about a sport that you care about. One of my favorite current manga is about hockey. It's about hockey. It's so stupid. It's so dramatic. It's a comedy. It's amazing. I own all the volumes that exist right so far because it's so good. Anyways, I love sports manga. Go read some sports manga.
Sports manga is cool. Manga's cool. So, if it's about sports, it also have to be cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that your first foray into manga about sports has been enjoyable. I'm glad I picked one that you like. Yay.
I mean, you might have started at the top of the heap, though. It might be all diminishing returns on the way down. I do want to check out Slam Dunk now, in more earnest.
Yeah, I will say, so I read all of Real multiple times. I read all of Vagabond in a week because why go to bed at a reasonable time? Dumbass. I started reading Slam Dunk. I don't think I'm gonna finish it. It's just maybe I should have read that one first. Yeah, but it's good, but I'm just now I'm comparing it to Real. And I mean not fair, because Slam Dunk was written in like 80s or 90s or something like that. So it came out before a lot of things I would compare it to, but I'm like, oh yeah, you have your lighter-haired main character who has a rival that has black hair and he's cooler and like less brash, and I'm like, why does it feel like I'm reading Naruto? But that's not fair because Naruto came out after that, so like Naruto's the one cribbing from this or whatever. Me just comparing things that have nothing to do with each other, but like, yeah, maybe I'll finish it. I mean, I would be curious to see how like the art style changes, because it is actually jarring from the first chapter to the last chapter. I like sent pictures of the same character in the first chapter and the last chapter to my sister, and she was like, "That's just a different person." I'm like, "It's called art style drift. It's all art style drift, and it's called finding your style. And it's called becoming awesome at drawing."
It's so sick.
Though I think I read somewhere, I don't think it was for Slam Dunk, it might have been for Vagabond. I think it was saying that like Inoue had a lot of assistants. Very, very normal for mangaka to have assistants. So like I think it was like he was drawing all the characters and all the backgrounds and everything else was drawn by the assistants. So that really helped with getting, like, chapters out on time. And that's a very normal thing. One Piece is like that. Like, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that, like, Oda draws all the characters and has assistants draw all the backgrounds and stuff. Which is cool, because they're able to, like, merge the art styles well. But it always makes me a little bit sad when I hear that.
I think, here's the thing, though. Like, that was also true of the American system. Like, it was less of an open secret than in Japan, but you know, people used to have studios, right? From the 40s up until kind of around the 80s is when that stopped. Well, 90s, I guess, when the money ran out, basically. Now, I don't know. I'm more forgiving of Japan because their deadlines are way tighter also. Like when you're cranking out, I don't know, really the chapters are 40 pages, which is insane.
Yeah.
If you're doing that on a bi-weekly deadline, yeah, you're probably going to want somebody to, do backgrounds or to ink for you or whatever.
And like, yeah, shonen series and like Jump it's a weekly thing. So you're drawing like 15 pages or 20 pages or however long your chapter is per week. So yeah, obviously Oda has assistants to help with the backgrounds. I didn't say I have a problem with it. I just said it makes me a little sad. Because, I don't know, it may be just me, but I like having complete control over the art that I make. So I like making every single part of it. I don't even like tracing. I don't even like using, like, assets.
Right, yeah.
I barely like copy and pasting things that I've already drawn, like, just so that I get, like, the two sides of a house to look the same. But, like, I get it. It makes sense because everything is, like, profit-driven. So, like, yeah, you have to get stuff out on deadline. But I'm just like, I wish it wasn't like that so that the artist could just be able to do their whole thing. I mean, unless he doesn't like drawing backgrounds. So, like, fair enough. Get someone else to do it. But, oh well.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got no complaints there. It's a different culture. It's a different system. Somebody's got to black out Goku's hair. It doesn't really matter to me who does it.
Yeah, fair. And it's a good way for people to get their starts. A lot of people were
that's the other thing.
Too. Yeah. One more thing I want to talk about for real is like disability in sport. Do you think this series would be what it is, as good as it is, as emotional as it is, if it was about basketball instead of wheelchair basketball?
No. I think the fact that most of these characters are disabled is important to how good it is, how readable this is. And maybe that's problematic. I don't mean that in a way of like, I don't know, fetishizing disability, because I don't think that this manga does that either, right? Like, this is a pretty legitimate way to show both how hard it is to live with a disability and also that it is manageable, right? Like, your life's not over just because you can't use your legs, as hard as that might be for some people to believe.
Yeah, all the characters are like portrayed in this, like, in a similar way. They all have like they all have strengths, they all have weaknesses. The disabled characters they are not shown to be, like, weaker than other characters, but they're also not shown to be, like, perfect. So they're just shown to be people because they are. One of the things I think that this manga does really good, and I don't know if it was done on purpose or it was part of the point, but it shows, like, how it's difficult to live with a disability, like a physical disability, in society. Like, in one of the early chapters, Kiyoharu has to wait for a bus to come that is wheelchair accessible. There's one point in time when Hisanobu, his mom is like, talking about, like, getting him back into high school so that he can finish his last year of high school. And they go to this school and is like, we'd have to put ramps here. We'd have to have Western-style toilets. And even when he gets home, they have to install a lift and all that stuff. And it's like, that's things that you don't think about in a normal day as someone who does not have a physical disability. But, like, as it, like, says in this manga, like Hisanobu, I think, like, has the specific thought at some time that, like, this is a thing never thought about. And then it can just change one day. And now so much is inaccessible because, like, the society around you does not have these accessibility things. And of course, this manga started in 1999, so a lot of things has changed. For example, I frequent a sports facility very frequently, and it has a lot of accessibility, like lifts and change rooms and elevators and stuff.
Automatic doors. Like, I think that's kind of standard for building codes now. Is
Nowadays,
to build buildings for...
Exactly. Yeah. But even so, when the elevator breaks, the people who need wheelchairs and have, like, scooters and stuff, you have to get staff to help people, like, down the stairs.
Right.
And it's like, it's like, wow, maybe we should have just had 2 elevators. So if one of them breaks, now the half of the facility is not accessible. So it's like, it's still a thing. And I do not know how Japan is because I am not there. But, like, this manga definitely can, like, show you how it was, specifically in, like, the late 90s, early 2000s at the time. Where, it's a lot easier if you're in a wheelchair to use a Western toilet because it's higher up off the ground.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And it's like, those would be things you have to change to make something accessible for even one wheelchair student at a school. Yeah. So I think that's a really interesting thing. And it made me think about things that I didn't think about, like, if one elevator breaks, now no one in a wheelchair can get up to the second floor.
It also sort of goes into, like, not just the lives of people with disabilities, but also, like, their caregivers and stuff, which is, like, that's also an important aspect of living with people with disability is both caregivers and, like, event organizers and parents, right? Like, and I think that I could see a manga where it's just this super team of wheelchair basketball players in just sporting events they go to, right? And it doesn't delve into the hardship that they put on their parents, right? Like, and not on purpose, but, like, so that was also nice to see, right? Like, seeing how Hisanobu Takahashi's dad has to sort of re-enter his life was kind of interesting to see.
And, like, the stress of everything has an impact on his mom, and she ends up being hospitalized as well. Yeah, no, the manga you explained about, or described as just a team of, like, wheelchair basketball players being awesome stuff. That's what would have happened if this was a sports manga, instead of a manga about sports. Yes, a shonen series about wheelchair basketball would have been more like that, and somebody would have, like a freaking rocket-powered wheelchair or something. Yeah. And another thing that is also interesting and I think was well done is that a lot of the characters had different disabilities, and so you could see the difference that makes in both the playing styles and what they have to deal with in life. For example, Kiyoharu, there's a ranking system for, like, how many points, quote-unquote points someone is on the court when they play wheelchair basketball. Depending on the disability, it's somewhere between a 1 and a 4.5, and you're able to have 14 points on the court at a time. The lower points is a more severe disability, so, like, a higher up spinal injury, for example. I don't know if you've gotten to that point yet, but Hisanobu is a 1 because he has, like, an upper spinal cord injury. And then For example, Kiyoharu is a 4.5 because he doesn't have a spinal injury at all. He can rotate perfectly fine.
He's got perfect range of motion.
Yeah.
In a wheelchair.
Yeah, it's just that he's missing, I say just that, he's missing one leg from the knee down. So it's interesting also seeing, like, the players deal with, like, how that is different for them, and also, like, what kind of injuries we have, or like what kind of injuries or disability we have. Kiyoharu is able to walk if he has his, like, prosthetic on, compared to someone we haven't mentioned yet. One of the ex-players of the Tigers, the team that Kiyoharu plays on, his name is Yama. He was at one point in time like a one point player. He has like I forget what it is exactly, but it's like a progressive.
Right, he's got some sort of degenerative. Yeah. It's a cancer, right?
It's not cancer. It's not cancer, and it's not like ALS or something. It's something skeletomuscular. I want to say it's like muscular dystrophy or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like he can't play anymore because he's at the point. Eventually in the manga,
grip the ball anymore, basically.
Yeah. Eventually at the point in the manga, he gets to the point where he's on a motorized wheelchair and does need help even breathing. So it's like you have these characters that have a range in how their disability affects them, and I think that's really, really nice to see, because like they could have easily just had everybody was in a car accident and they have like just like the same experience. But I think there was like it feels like there was a lot of research that went into this, about like the different types of disabilities and how that affects their life and how they play wheelchair basketball, so that like there's this broad range.
Right.
That was pretty cool.
I think there's two characters who they were in motorcycle accidents. I guess 3 characters who were in motorcycle accidents, but it affects them differently. Like they have different diagnoses. And also I think that like at a certain time in Japan, that was a major concern, was like people were just getting into motorcycle accidents. I think you can get your motorcycle license far easier than your driving license in Japan, from what I understand.
That is kind of how it feels, because Tomomi was driving a motorbike. Who knows if he had a license for it or not? It's never said if he did. But like he's trying to get his driver's license, and it's not going well, and it seems very difficult. Yeah.
That's how I don't know. Again, I can only drive in Canada. I don't know. I don't know about Japan, but even that, like, that seems realistic, right? Like, that's how people, get paralyzed.
Yeah.
They weren't fighting monsters and then
no.
or fighting the Green Goblin or whatever.
No. I'm trying to think, is there something stupid in like one of these fighting manga where somebody gets paralyzed? No, because...
Well, in Kengan, the guy can just like move his neck back into place after it's been snapped.
And something that will live in my like mind rent free is like from when I read like Soul Eater like 15 years ago or whatever. One of the characters like was like spine broke or something, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're so worried." And I'm like, "Oh, is this character going to get paralyzed?" And he's like, "No, don't worry. Even if my bones don't work, I'll stand with my muscles." And then there's like no lasting effect, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ! Don't fact check me on Soul Eater. It's been so long since I read it, but it's like, yeah, like that's shonen for you. It's like, okay, sure, well, lasting effects, realistic effects. No, you can just freaking like break your spine in half, and you're all good. It's okay. So, but this is not a shonen series, so it's fine. Do you have any last thoughts? Any things you want to add or talk about? I think I hit most of the points that I wanted to discuss.
My only questions are, so it's called Real, and there's a chapter in this that describes a hobby sports magazine in Japan called, what is it? It's a Real Deal? And it's all about wheelchair basketball specifically, and like that was the goal of the whatever editor of that magazine was. He was getting shot down, and he needed a new gig. Is that real? Do you know if that's an actual? Is that real? Is that a legitimate publication, and that's why this manga is named Real? Do you know why it's called Real?
I was just assuming it was called Real because this is like, it's a real story. It's real life. Everything here is real. That's what just that's how I took it. I am not sure. I mean, every other manga, well, the other manga by Inoue that I've read, it's quite obvious why the things are called what they are. In Slam Dunk, literally in the first chapter, the main character is like asked to do a slam dunk. So I think I know why that one's called Slam Dunk, because he's tall and he can jump good, so he's like tall enough to do a slam dunk. Anyways, and at one point I'm in Vagabond, as either like somebody is like, oh yeah, he's like a vagabond, or like he's like, or like Miyamoto's like, I'm a vagabond, or something like that. So like, oh, he said the thing. For real, I don't know the exact reason. I always just took it as, yeah, this is real. Yeah, you know.
This is real as compared to Slam Dunk, which is hyper real, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I do not have a specific answer for that one.
Okay. My other question is, you mentioned that you read this first. Maybe you said in the episode and I just didn't remember or didn't hear you. How did you discover this? Well, like, how is this your starting point versus the way more popular Slam Dunk or even Vagabond, which is like, you know, it's been published by Dark Horse forever in the West.
Yeah. So, like, the way that I discover manga, I don't, like, I, like, sometimes, like, hear about things from other people, but, like, the order in which I read things in my life is the order that of someone who was just, like, blind and randomly picking up bullshit and has never heard anyone else talk about manga, because, like, I didn't grow up with knowing people who read manga. I just kind of discovered that it was a thing by accident because I saw a couple anime on TV, like I think like on YTV, they played some anime sometimes, and I was like, that's cool. And then I think my progression was, oh, that's cool. I figured out what Tumblr was. I saw that other things exist. I discovered that Death Note existed. And then I was like, oh, this is cool. I like reading comics. I read Archie comics every day. And then I just started reading just random things I would find. Yeah. So I never get like recommended things from people who are like, yeah, this is really popular, this is really good. It was more like, I just would randomly like scroll and be like, oh, cool, I'll just poke. This is an interesting looking front cover. Yeah, I'll just read that. Sure, why not? This is why a lot of the shit I read is just random and weird. And I also just haven't read, like, things like Dragon Ball.
I mean, fair enough. I only ask because, like, I'm just curious what the pipeline is. Because we gotta get this into more people's hands. Like, how is no one talking about this?
Yeah, it's like, how did Slam Dunk get so popular? Okay, how does anything get popular? I think it's, like, 90% luck. Let's be real. Slam Dunk was popular because it's a sports manga, and people fucking love sports manga.
And specifically from a time when basketball was, like, really popular, too, right? That 1990s Chicago Bulls period. Anyway, sorry, continue.
And, like, for example, some very popular sports manga are about baseball. Baseball is apparently very popular in Japan.
Very popular in Japan, yes. Or soccer, right? Like Captain Tsubasa, like the most popular sport on the planet. Yeah, of course there's going to be a manga about it.
Exactly. And like, oh, why is Vagabond popular? I think most people just like things that are about Miyamoto Musashi. It's kind of like a period piece. It's like an adaptation about a book that is like somewhat of a fictionalized retelling of Miyamoto Musashi's life. And also it looks good.
Yeah.
And also this is by someone who just made the most popular sports manga of all times, depending on what metric you use. So yeah, why is Real not as popular? Probably because it's not as popular of a thing. It's about wheelchair basketball. It's not a shonen. It's not a period piece like Vagabond. It's not a genre that's super duper popular. More people should read this. If you read just one manga that I've talked about in the run of this podcast, well, make it My Brother's Husband. But if you read two mangas, make it My Brother's Husband and Real, because like it is legitimately amazing. Also, I don't think I've ever seen it in bookstores. So, and I specifically last time I went to Chapters, I looked. I found Vagabond and Slam Dunk. I have never found Real in person. I think it exists in English?
Yeah, I saw somebody on Reddit for sure had 2 like compendium-sized English translations, but I don't know how in print those are or who published those. How accessible
that is.
Yeah.
The good thing is, like, a lot of older / more niche things are getting, like, reprinted. I keep seeing things in chapters that are very old and I thought was super niche, but, like, it's a new printing and I'm like, awesome. I can spend more money.
I like that stuff.
I like that. It's great. Me looking at my bookshelf with all my backy volumes. Anyways, so, like, maybe this could, like, it's not how, let's see if I can find how many, like, it's won awards, and as of 2020, it had 16 million copies in circulation. So not super popular, but not super unpopular. Every other, like, sports manga that I talked about in this episode has more than that. But it's not, like, unknown.
No.
And it's by a very prolific mangaka. So I would love for more people to know that this exists. Because it is legitimately one of the best comics I have ever read. And it's ongoing. There's going to be more of it. Hopefully.
Yeah, I would read more.
Checking.
If you could keep working on it.
Luckily, you do currently have more chapters you can read. I can just reread it again and cry a couple more times. But yeah, I hope more people read this. Please. Go read this manga. If you're still here and you have not read this manga, go read it, okay? It's awesome.
It's awesome. This is a good one. What a great pick, Diane.
I'm glad I got something. I should really change it up and bring some weird bullshit next time. I'll bring something Boys Abyss level next time or something. I don't know. I'll shake it up. But yeah, no, like I said, if you read only one manga we've talked about, My Brother's Husband. If you read 2, My Brother's Husband and Real. Thanks for listening. You can find me, Diane, on Instagram at @1littlegremlin. That's 1_little_gremlin.
And you can find me, Jack, on Bluesky and Pinksky at Phantom Power Press, spelt with an F.
If you'd like to follow the show, you can do so on Bluesky and Pinksky at panelpalspodcast.bsky.social. All of our links are in the show notes. If you like the show, please rate and review on your podcast provider of choice. Panel Pals is a Jack Stewardson, Diane Hitchings co-production with editing by Jack Stewardson. Our musical theme is found by STEM Champs.